Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. For your interest, if you're new to this video series, I'm a Christian author who's successfully self-published over 55 Christian books, non-fiction books. So the title of this video is going to be called Indie Authors, Your Cover, Your Blurb, Your Editions. So you've heard of the cliche, don't judge a book by its cover, and that's people saying, give people a second chance, give people some of your time and attention. Just don't be so quick to judge people. But the thing is that we do judge books by their cover. If it's got an extraordinary cover or professional looking cover, we're more apt to buy the book. We're more attracted to the book. There's many people, sadly, that self-publish books who have unprofessional covers. And these unprofessional covers actually result in lower click-throughs, lower book sales, and that's a sad thing. So it's very important that you hire a professional graphic artist, and when you're going to select a graphic artist for your book, it's very good for you to have a look at their portfolio and have a look at former covers that they've bought. If you're going to a site called Fiverr, which I use, go and have a look at the past covers that they've done. Have a look at their portfolio and find someone who sort of is able to generate the sort of cover that you're looking for. It's really, really, really important to have a good cover. I have to say, out of my 55 books, I'm pleased with covers of about 49 of them. And I used to have a cover designer that wasn't so good. And you'll notice in the last 3 years that my covers have improved, and I'm very happy with them. They've got like brackets around the titles, and all the most recent books have got those brackets, and it's been a kind of branding that's on my books. People who are surfing Amazon will recognize that those brackets and say to themselves, oh, that's a new book of Matthew's I haven't seen yet. So it's very important to have a good cover. I pay about 220 Australian dollars, about 160, 165 American dollars for each of my covers. And that is a very important thing to have. Another really important feature of your book, and sometimes you might not be able to do it yourself, but an important feature of your book is your blurb, the piece of writing that advertises your book on the back cover. It's it's integral that you have something describing the benefits of your book. What are people going to learn? What are they going to gain? How are they going to have an advantage in their life if they read your book? What are they going to glean from your book? How are they going to be a better person? How are they going to improve? What are they going to get if they read your book? And you need to write a blurb that not only describes what your book is about, but more importantly, what they're going to get from your book. So I've got a good editor, and you can contact me. I've got a video called Outsourcing in this series. If you look at the playlist, you can see that video. And in that video, it's got a link to my editor's website and her Facebook profile, if you have a look at that video. But I employ my editor, and she writes the blurbs for my books. I used to write them myself. I just got tired of writing them. So my editor, in her process of editing my book, she reads my book 3 times. And so she's got a very good idea of what my book entails and what my book is all about. She's pretty experienced at writing the back covers for me. She's a writer in her own right. She's not just an editor. So I encourage you, in this video, actually, I'll put in the description tag how you can contact my editor. So go under my name on this video, and where it describes a little blurb about this video, press see more, and you'll get further look at the description tag, and you can contact my editor and see about getting your book edited, or ask her how much it would be for her to read your book and write a blurb for you. So I really encourage you to do that. Your blurb has to sell the book. Of course, there's other elements to your book. It's very important to have a title that succinctly, in a few words, describes what your book is about, and describes what your book promises. How is your book going to benefit a person? What is your book specifically about? If you got keywords that you want your book to be found under, if there's specific keywords that you want people, when they do a search on Amazon, to be able to find your book, it's important to have those keywords, or some of those keywords, in your title. Remember that you can have a title and then a subtitle, and you can use the subtitle to put a couple of your keywords in there so people can find your book on Amazon. It's very important to have a lot of thought and put a lot of work into developing your title for your book. I've got a friend called Praying Medic that you will have noticed me mention in other videos. He writes down about 10 different titles for each one of his books, and his wife, who is a graphic designer and partially does the first edit of his book, she actually chooses the title out of the 10 titles that they're going to use. So a title is very important. Another really important aspect to your book is getting good reviews. And I've got a whole video in the video series, and it'll be a chapter in the book if you're reading this book on reviews and my suggested way of getting reviews, and I'll let you go and read that. Now, let's talk about your additions. What do I mean by that? So at the very start of your book, you've got your copyright page. On your copyright page, not only say this book is copyrighted, you also list biblical references, Bibles that you're using if it's a Christian book. On that copyright page, I say who my graphic designer is, I say who my editor is, and I include my website where you can find me. I also say that my book can be copied or used on blogs and stuff. I've got a really open source sort of copyright notice. And if you want to know what to put on your copyright page, just have a look at other books and copy and paste what they say. Then I have my title page. Then I'll have my dedications. It's very important as you write books. It's really, really special to certain people in your life when you dedicate your book to certain people. It's really important to those people, and they're really blessed by that. So I encourage you to think very carefully about people that you really love, and think about the words that you say in that dedication, how you say it. I used to have the next section I used to have as acknowledgements in my book. I used to have them in the front. Now I have them in the back of the book because my editor said when people can only read 10% of your book, when they have a free sample of your book, that having a page and a half of acknowledgement sort of takes up their space. Then you have the table of contents, and you may have the forward, if you have a forward in your book. It's important if you're going to have a forward in your book, for that person to know you really well. Part of a forward is how they're going to describe how they know you, and then they're going to do like a more extensive endorsement of the book and why a person should read your book. And so a good forward will explain how they met you, what sort of person you like, how you're qualified to write a book like this, and what the book is about, and the advantages people are going to receive from reading this book. And then your introduction, I was told by someone, which made a lot of sense when I heard it, the introduction should be the last thing you write in your book. So write your whole book. Make your argument from chapter 1 to the end of your book. Make a total argument. Step it through chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter until you finish your book, and then write the introduction. What is that book about? What are they going to find in the book? Why did you write the book? What do you hope that they'll come to understand? And your introduction should be written after you know what's in your book. A lot of people make the mistake and write an introduction before they've actually written a book, but it's best written at the end of writing your book. Put it in the front, of course, but have it as the last thing that you write for your book. After my book is finished, I might say like a page, closing thoughts, and you can sum up the message in your book and like do a reiteration of what you said, and punch home a couple of key points that you want people to take away with them. Then I have a page where I say, I'd love to hear from you. And on that page, I'll have, I'd love to see a review written by you, a real advantage of, I'll go and read it for you. I've got this. I haven't got the thing open. I've got a separate chapter. You'll find a chapter in this book, when it's a book, of what I say about getting a review on that page. But I appeal to my readers, if they enjoyed the book, to please write a review for this book. And if you're watching this video, go to the playlist on my homepage on YouTube. Go to the playlist section and look for Indie Author Playlist and look for the video that talks about how to get good reviews for your book. And in there, I include the 2 paragraphs that I have at the end of the book. So when you have this page, I'd love to hear from you. I have the first 2 paragraphs talking about how it would be great for them to write a review and the fact that I read every review. Then I go on to say my website and the services I offer on my website. Then I go on to say that if you want to write to me for any reason or want to comment on this book, write to me at my email address, and they've got my personal email address. Then I go on to say that you could really do me a favor sharing this book on Facebook. So it's just a general, please help me, and if you want to contact me, get in touch. Then I have a page which might not necessarily be relevant for you, but I have a page next on the book is how they can sponsor a book, and I go into the fact that I've got a book writing ministry, and all my books are 99 cents, and I don't publish books to make money, but I do it as a ministry to teach people about the kingdom of God and teach people about the Christian faith. And if they'd like to support me in that, they can donate any amount. It costs me about $1,500 to $2,000 to publish a book, I tell them, and you can pay that whole amount or any amount. And this is the link on my website that you can go to give me money to go to this PayPal address on my website, and I can donate on PayPal. The next page I have is the acknowledgements page, and I list everyone I'm thankful for, and I try and change that up a little bit on every book, but it's fundamentally the same. Then I have about the author, and I've got a description about who I am and where, how I can be contacted, my website address. And then in most of my books now, I've got a copy of the blurb, what the back cover of the book says on the paperback. On the Kindle, they wouldn't have that. They have that in the description on the Amazon page, but they might want to read that again. So they're the additions that I have to the front and the back of my book. That normally takes me about an hour of time to put those forward matter and the back end to the book. And then once I've got all of that, I send it to my editor. So that's just helpful information. I'm not sure if many people, when they write books on how to write a successful Kindle book, these are things that really help me. I say, if you want to finance a book, please write to me and ask me what projects that I'm currently up to. I've found that I've had about 10 people write to me and ask me what projects I'm up to. Then they've given me $2,000. So that page in my last 15 or 20 books has earned me about $20,000. And so it's certainly been helpful. One person gave me $9,000 about 8 months ago, which is amazing. Another person gave me $6,500. Someone gave me $4,000. So it can be a real benefit when people recognize that you're not in it for money, that there's other causes that you're in it for. So that's something I'd recommend, that you put in your book, that you're not so much after money, but you're after education. And if you like this book and you'd like to fund other books, please look at sending me some money. So there's some things that I hope you've learned some information from, and If you've liked this video, press like. If you didn't like it, press thumbs down. If you want to subscribe to my channel, press the red button, subscribe. When you do, there's a little bell that appears. Press the bell and that'll tell you videos that are coming up. If you got something to say to me, you'd like to encourage me, write a comment down below. If you want to friend me on Facebook, the link is in the description tag. If you want to request a prophecy off me or write to me or donate money, you can do that. Just remember, my editor details will be in the description tag. I hope that this has helped you. God bless you with your book writing career, and hope that you can share this video with your friends if you really like it. God bless.